grew up in Lakeville. I was born in 1984. I was the oldest of two children. We grew up in a very, very challenging home, very unhealthy, a lot of dysfunction, and there was a lot of mental health that came down on both sides of the family. And so my brother and I were hit full blast with that as we were growing up. My first suicide attempt, I was 10. And I started cutting and doing a lot of self-mutilation at that point, just as a young child. Everything felt hopeless. You were lost, you were in a darkness, and you didn't know, especially as a child, how you were going to survive it. You didn't want to have to confront it and look at it. You wanted to ignore it and pretend it wasn't there, but the pain just got worse as I got older. By the time I reached early adulthood, what ended up happening is I had a gastric bypass surgery. I lost about 115 pounds and started going on dates. I had never dated before, never told I was pretty before, never been kissed before, nothing like that, you know, so I ended up turning into a very, very promiscuous person, and before I knew it, I was going on dates and drinking on the date, before the date, after the date, and even when I didn't have a date. And I became an alcoholic. Fast forward to the age of 30 in 2014, I had slit my wrists, and a week later I was arrested for my first, last, and only DWI. I remember being in the back of the police car. I had handcuffs around my slashed wrists. And I remember looking up at the moon, and I remember just looking at the sky and saying, God, why don't you just kill me? After I was arrested and I was taken to detox, I remember realizing the light as it was coming back into my life. And as I got to Naomi, seeing that light and that presence of God coming back in. And the fog was lifted when I came to Naomi, simply because I had an opportunity to step out of that darkness, and I was able to take a break from life, so to speak, and I was able to see things the way God wanted me to see them. No one can understand how bright that light is until you've seen the darkest of the dark. And that's what Naomi allowed me to see, was how bright that light is. I'm proud and happy and so blessed to say that the light is my closest friend, and life is. And it's one thing being alive, but it's another thing to be living. I would say that the staff is the best part of NFR. I can give you a list of people that just changed my life with a smile or with a prayer. God used the staff to change my life, and through, especially relationally and spiritually first. And because of those things, everything else followed. All of the physical support, you know, the bed and the meals and things like that, all of that followed. But without that relational aspect first, I don't think that the rest would have mattered. My full name is Catherine Lee. Catherine means pure. Lee means a meadow or a field. And when I came to NFR, it felt like I was just free and running in a pure field, just nothing could hurt me. And the most beautiful thing about that is that now that I'm graduated from NFR, I still am running in that pure field, and I still feel free. It's just amazing how God has allowed that freedom to come with me. My last few months at NFR were absolutely wonderful. I'll always cherish them. October 12th, I graduated from WorkNet. November 12th, I graduated from LifeNet. And December 12th, I graduated from college with my bachelor's degree, started a job in my field at a publishing company on December 17th. It was domino effect in the most coolest way possible that only God could do. My dream has always been to have my own place and two cats, boy and a girl. And lo and behold, the kitty that I got was born November 12th, the day that I graduated from LifeNet. And what used to mean death when I cut my wrists and I had those scars on my wrists, it represented a hopelessness that I never thought I could get out of. And now when I look at my wrists, they're all cut up from my cats. So it's just a representation now of life and of everything I ever wanted. If I had an opportunity to speak to the donors and the volunteers one-on-one, I would want to say thank you and give them a hug. I don't think that people realize, because they're not on the inside, what those gifts do for people. Thank you.